You know what's funny is like a thing that I just don't care about anymore is people that are like, oh, I was a PJ, and it turns out they weren't a PJ way back in the day. I used to care about that a lot. I used to be like, oh, you MF. Oh my God. How to string him up. You should be beaten in public, you POS. Now I get like stolen valor is
Stolen
terrible.
valor.
Exactly. Stolen valor is terrible. It's a whole law. It's a whole charge. I get it, man. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be a liar. You shouldn't lie to people. Okay? Like, just be a good person. Don't tell people you did stuff you didn't do. But anyway, I've chilled out on it so much. Now I just don't even care. Like, there's these conversations about like, oh, we found out this dude was claiming PJ on a Facebook page and on a podcast and he wasn't. All right. I don't care. It sucks. It sucks for that dude.
I guess the only time that I care about that is when somebody's applying for a job someplace. Like, I think the last one I had was somebody was applying for Department of Energy or something like that. And
like,
and they go, hey, he's saying that he went on multiple deployments and he was a controller and did this and hey, just looking for a name check.
Right.
Oh, okay. Name check, whatever. Hey man, turns out he wasn't. Hire him if you want, like whatever. I'm just saying turns out that he wasn't.
Do whatever you want with that information.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about character and integrity and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Right. There's also something to be said with it's okay to call yourself a cone at any time in the pipeline. Congratulations, everybody that's out there right now. You're either a cone or a quitter. So congratulations. Go get a shirt. We put you into two little sections there. You're a cone or you're a quitter. So which one are you? What's up? Dig it. Yeah.
I guess I could still be a cone then. Cool.
Exactly. Well, man, you want to get all deep on it and try to make ourselves sound smart on a Mill Bro podcast? Let's talk about like the stoicism of, if you're always a cone, you're always learning, it's that white belt mindset, real student, day one, subject matter enthusiast. We're out here carrying goats. Currying goats.
I
do love. I did actually have a good curry the other day, and I think about you all the time. Anytime somebody says who's going to carry the boats, I think curry the goats, and then I think of you and your curry the goat story. It makes me laugh.
Curried goat, it's good. If you guys hadn't had it, it's good. Yeah. So for the folks out there, we legitimately didn't know what we were going to talk about here, which is pretty funny because we had a guest no show, but one of the things, and this would be good for Trent too, but I think that you and I have got enough deployments between us that we could actually talk about it, even from an aspect of, so there's deployments for folks that like us within the Air Force Special Warfare, and we don't follow because we have everything internal to the squadron. So we have our unit deployment managers and they keep our folders and everything like that. And in those folders are all the kind of information that you would need to rip out the door really quick. It's got all your vaccine records. It's got your emergency data. It's got your extra dog tags in it. It's got all that kind of stuff, right? So that you could literally just rip out the door without that. And then people have that kind of information, your closest contact in case something bad happens, that kind of stuff. But that is us, and that is us on the kind of soft side of the house and the rescue side of the house. But what the rest of the Air Force does is not like that. They no kidding, and sometimes we have to play those games as well. Just because maybe
lines. Oh, right. I love deployment lines so much. A good old bag drag, buddy. Count me in. You can't get me down at all during a deployment line. I will say it will be 10 hours of your day. You will sit there. There will be nothing to do. There will be no explanation. There will be no update of when the next station is going to start or why you're still at the station you're at. You will have to do NBC at one point. There's no reason why. You just have to. Just throw the gas mask on. It's NBC, baby. We got to get ready. We're going to Iraq looking for WMDs, baby. Woo! We going early GWAT, baby. We going to crit. You want to go to that triangle, baby? We're hitting them hitters. Some downtown Euphrates joints.
Oh, man. But yeah. So I know that we don't need to talk about deployment lines, especially because we have done them and that kind of stuff. But what I would like to talk about is the pre to the deployment line, because the deployment line or ripping out doors, right? Like, okay, you're heading out.
Yeah, but like the spin up to deployment, like training to a deployment. Yeah,
right. So what does that look like from a operational and a training aspect, and what does it also look like from a home life? Like
So I think
these considerations, because a lot of people overlook that, and you think, well, yeah, man, you're ripping out the door. Okay, if I'm in
but that's a
some
long
kind of
time. It's a long time leaving. Like, it's not, everything isn't there. Granted, there is some alert stuff where you're gone. You know, we have a pararescue has maintained a 72-hour commitment forever. There's a team somewhere in the world right now that if a flag goes up, that team's gone in 72 hours worldwide. Like, we do that all, like, that's a thing. It's what happened at HKIA. You know, we do this all the time. Like, people blow out and go respond. Hatter, you know, ST responds to Hatters with PJs, and PJs, you know, there's all kinds of other missions that the rescue side does, and you know, kudos to them. That's not even touching the Alaska stuff. But point being, like, there is a slow burn to some deployment. Like, you know, when you're on a cycle, and especially ST finally has it locked down, and now everybody's on the, you know, the AF4 gen cycle of regenerating forces and getting them the training that they need, and then actually getting them out the door. Well, you know, to speak about this, if we put it into quarters, right? And it's not, we're just going to call 4 quarters of whatever. There's 5 phases of training. It's over 24 months now, whatever, everybody aligned, but it's nerdy. So we'll call it like the 3rd quarter. 4th quarter is your deployment. You're actually leaving and going out the door. But that 3rd quarter, man, it comes with a whole host of challenges, right? So from a training aspect, this is where you're supposed to be tip top, right? All of your dudes have gone to their schools. They've done, you know, the one-off, you know, ALS, or somebody had to go and do a senior NCO course, or they had to do something. So the team breaks up, you know, go to jump master school, go to sniper school, go to, you know, they had to go test, so they had to study for a couple of weeks, or, you know, maybe they got an injury, they decided to have a surgery, whatever. All that stuff's behind you. You guys are working as a team. You're doing advanced stuff. You've got your free fall stuff usually behind you. Usually you've got your free fall level 1 spin up done, if you're a jump team. If not, you have a specific function, like if you're doing you know, air to ground integration stuff, or if you're going, you know, to do some of our different mission sets, global access, maybe you train specifically to that. But you guys are humming. You're working with other people at this point. You're working with other teams that are going to go in the same area that you are. You're starting to you know, you're talking to people downrange. You know, we were talking to folks every week via VTC. You know, hey, how's things going? What projects are you working? So that they could really like hand it over to us and keep going, so that you didn't have to start over. But all of that stuff is laid in, and you're getting yourself ready to go. So it usually means really, really long days. It usually means you feel good and you're in your stride, but you're showing up early. Early as shit to PT, you know, early to get to the gym, crushing that gym workout. So you're done by 7:00, because you have VTCs that start at 7 and meetings that start at 7. And man, you go from there. And I will say, from that aspect of it, it does take a toll on your family in that area. I don't know if you had felt the same thing there, but this is where I feel the most stressed. Like, getting ready to go deploy, usually all it is like, just get me on the plane. Get me in my little hammock on the plane, flying over. Let me take a little snooze and wake up somewhere in Europe, and then take another snooze and wake up whatever continent we're going to this time. And let me figure out what we're doing, you know, for the deployment. Like, you just want to get to that zone, but that zone just before that, you're like, oh, dang it, man. Like, you're half in, half out.
Yeah, it is a pressure buildup, because you're like, you know, you're wanting to make sure that all your training is complete. If you're in some kind of leadership role, you're really hoping that you did everything you possibly could to make sure that everybody was trained and ready to go, and that there's no deficiencies. There's the home aspect, where, you know, if you've got a wife, kids, or you know, a husband or whatever, and you're wanting to maximize time with them, but you're still, you know, because you know that you're about to leave them for, you know, the better part of a year. And you're like, you know, you're getting those pressures. You got to hit, you know, you want to hit those basketball games, or those wrestling tournaments, or just spend time and go out, take a family out to dinner, or go out on a date night. You're trying to pack all of that in, and you're getting pulled in so many different directions. And you're just like, the build up, and then, dude, just get me out the door.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not just from our aspect either. It's also the families. They're not ready for you to go, but it's that kind of like, all right, you're just stringing me along. And then, hey, guess what? The bird breaks. So now you're back home. And now you got to say all the goodbyes again.
Oh, the worst.
Plane breaks again. Or, you know, maybe not even a plane break. Maybe the tip fit or whatever, it slipped. Hey, we slipped 2 weeks.
Sure.
Or we slipped a couple days. And you're like, dude.
You get delayed because of a worldwide virus that is supposed to be treated like the flu, but it shut everything down and it pushed people back weeks and months in deployed locations.
Dude,
people were stranded
from that.
Dude, people were stranded on the road. Imagine it's one thing to be stranded wherever you're going, your deployed location, right? There's, or waiting at home. There's, maybe like some weird in between, thing at home where you're waiting on a plane, or just like you said, something fell out. So you're like half in, half out your house or your deployed location. People got hemmed up in the middle of that process. They're just at like random Air Force Inns in McGuire, just like, oh yeah, I've been here for a month. Like we're allowed outside. Like my boys went to support Hawaii, and there was this weird restriction where they had to be like isolated from everybody else. They were allowed to essentially go outside for like 3 hours a day to work out or something. It was like prison.
I mean, 3 hours a day, that's bad. 3 hour workouts out in Hawaii. I mean,
you don't need that much time getting a tan on, but
no, exactly. But I mean, dude, it's just that's just the way it is. And I mean, some of those boys that were deployed, and when all that happened, ended up getting extended.
I can't imagine.
And they were dude, because that was my unit, if I remember right. The guys that I had just left, and they were, I think, 2 weeks away from going home. So they had already done a complete rotation, and they were 2 weeks from going home.
Everything that you don't need packed at that point. Everything's already like, you're ready to start pulling some for real triggers on like, get me the guy. Oh yeah.
Like, hey, we got a whatever cruise planned. We got whatever.
Oh, the worst.